Lauren, do we have sound? Text me back really fast. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to find out if we have sound. Lauren, do I have sound? Check, check, check. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So, guys, I'm going to back up and hey, this is a wonderful way to start a webinar, but sorry, we had some technical challenges. I'm usually in a studio to do this, and I've got really smart people that can help me with all the technical stuff. And, I may know a lot about, Lauren, text me yes if you've got just now happened. Okay, I am getting friends that are watching can hear me, and that is awesome. So, guys, thank you for bearing with me. As I was just saying, I normally don't drive my own technical. I'm not much of a technical guy, I'm more of a strategist. But let me just start over and say, hey, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on this webinar. My name is Paul Slack, and welcome to the 3 Digital Marketing Hacks to 3X Your Pipeline in 2021 webcast. Now, I know that's a mouthful, and we're certainly excited that you're here. What we're going to do today is really pull back the curtain and show you how these 3 digital marketing hacks are going to help you tie everything together so that you can more predictably and reliably grow your pipeline with digital marketing in 2021. In fact, what we're going to do is really try to answer the question during this webinar on how can you leverage digital marketing in such a way that you can significantly grow your leads and sales without wasting a ton of time, energy, and most importantly, money. Now I'm going to back up my slides here. I'm going to show you my slides and I'm going to back up because I was rocking and rolling and you guys couldn't hear a thing I was saying. So I'm going to back up here and basically go over a couple of housekeeping items with you. Number one, Lauren, who just let me know that you guys couldn't hear me and has let me know that you guys can hear me now. She's on chat. She is one of our account managers, and we want this to be an interactive presentation today. So as I'm going through the material and you think of a question, just chat it in, and Lauren will do the best she can to answer your question. If we don't get to everybody's question, we'll certainly circle back with you and make sure that everybody's questions get answered. And then number two, I always get asked, are you going to provide slides for your presentation? And the answer is absolutely. So at the end of the webinar today, I'll be shooting out an email to you, and you'll have attachments or attached to that email rather will be my slides as well as some other reference material that I'll cover today. So that's our housekeeping items. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Now, I do know that lead generation is a big deal for B2Bs in 2021. We basically surveyed over 300 marketing leaders at the beginning of the year and asked them several questions. I'll be sharing with you their answers throughout the presentation today. Here's their first answer. So the question was, what are your biggest marketing challenges for 2021? And you can see hands down, generating leads is by far the biggest challenge. Generating marketing qualified leads or MQLs, but then turning those MQLs ultimately into sales qualified leads. So that's a big challenge, and we're going to show you how these digital marketing hacks will really help you overcome those challenges. Here's some good news for you. The good news is that our buyers are still out there. I know it's been a crazy year, and now we're kind of getting out of this new normal, next normal, whatever it is we want to call this world that we're in. But our buyers are still there. They still need help. And quite frankly, they're using digital marketing more than ever before. And so we really need to learn how to leverage these digital hacks that I'm going to walk you through today so that we can get in front of those buyers. But let's take a step back and just realize that at the end of the day, the fundamentals haven't changed, right? Whether we're marketing our business through traditional methods or we're marketing our business with digital marketing, the fundamentals haven't changed. There's basically 3 fundamentals that we need to focus on. Number one is we want to get in front of the right buyer, not just necessarily every buyer, but the right buyer. And we're going to talk about how to do that with digital today. Number two, we need to move that right buyer through a process that ultimately gets them to point number three, gets them to a place where they're ready to say yes. And so as we go through the material today and I walk you through these 3 digital marketing hacks, these are the things we're going to try to accomplish. How do we get in front of those buyers and ultimately get them to a place that they want to say yes about your business and not your competition. Because right now is the time to take the lead, right? Everybody's trying to figure out, how do we emerge out of this and how do we grow our business in this new order? And that includes your competition. And so I'm glad that you're watching this webcast today, because what I want you to do is learn how to take these steps so that you can leapfrog ahead of your competition. You know, your competition may still be out there in what I call these rocking chair races, where they're trying to go as fast as they can in a rocking chair. And the things I'm going to show you today are really about putting you in a Ferrari that are going to get you from point A, where you are today, to point B, where you want to be tomorrow, a lot faster. So this is a great opportunity for you to leapfrog your competition. Before I get too far into it, though, I do want to share with you a little bit about who we are and why we're qualified to talk to you about the things we're going to be covering today. Basically, I've been in the digital marketing space all the way back into the late 90s. In fact, one of the things I will often joke about is right after Al Gore invented the doggone thing, I was there helping businesses really try to figure out how to leverage this new media to grow their businesses. And my background is B2B. I got started in B2B technology sales over 30 years ago. And so when I started my first agency in 2000, it was specifically to help B2B companies. And that's really what I've been doing for the last 20 plus years. My first agency was actually acquired by a company called Splash Media in 2010. And at Splash Media, I had the opportunity to travel all over the country and train tens of thousands of business leaders on how to do digital marketing and social media marketing for their businesses. In 2012, I wrote a book called Social Rules. You can still buy that book at Amazon or anywhere that books are sold. And I'm currently working on a new book called Social Selling Rules. And it's all about helping sales leaders and sales reps really learn how to leverage digital as a way to connect and engage with buyers on the sales side. And then while I was at Splash, I also started the world's first fully accredited online social media marketing course, or school, if you will, over 400 lessons and classes that we ultimately sold to Full Sail University. And in 2014, I had the honor of starting Vindy Digital, which is where I am today. And we've been focused since 2014 on helping B2B companies really leverage digital marketing so that they can connect with buyers and grow their sales for their businesses. And so that's who we are. And I'm super excited, like I said, that you're here today. And here's a key point as we start thinking about these 3 digital marketing hacks and how they can help your business really grow. Number 1, to be successful, oops, got a little click happy there. In order to be successful, we have to be consistent, right? If we want success, we've got to be consistent. One of the challenges that I see with B2B companies in the world of digital is they don't allow campaigns and efforts to gestate long enough, right? They're not consistent enough. And in order to be consistent, we ultimately, we need a framework, right? So in order to be successful, we've got to be consistent. And in order to be consistent, we really need a framework, because a framework's going to show us the things that we need to do day in and day out. And a framework's also going to help us optimize and tweak campaigns, right? There's things that we're going to want to tweak and tune over time to optimize our campaigns. And if we don't have a framework, it's going to be really hard to accomplish that. So let's go ahead and take a look at these 3 hacks. And these 3 hacks are going to tie right back into having a framework and being consistent in that framework. And so the things that we need to be consistent about are, number 1, activating our audience, basically understanding where our customers are and making sure that we're there. The second hack that we're going to talk about today is, how do we establish authority, right? How do we communicate to that perfect customer that we're qualified to solve their problem? And then number 3, how do we nurture relationships, right? Because since we're in the B2B world, we can't really control when that buyer is going to be ready to buy or say yes. But what we can control is that they think of you first. And so those are the 3 hacks that we're going to take a look at. And you'll notice that those 3 hacks align directly with our B2B lead funnel framework. And you can see that here. I'm actually going to turn off my camera for a second so you can see the whole thing. And my face isn't covering up that 4th pillar there. But this is our B2B lead funnel framework. We've developed this over the last 20 years. And you can see that the 3 hacks are actually pillars within our framework. So, that first pillar is absolutely critical in any endeavor, right? We've got to have a plan if we're going to be successful. But then quickly we get into these different hacks. Number one, activating your audience, which is getting people to see your stuff, right? At the end of the day, if somebody doesn't know that you exist, they're never going to buy from you. They're never going to become a lead. They're never going to become an opportunity. So that's activate your audience. Hack number two is establishing authority. And this is where we want to basically establish to your prospect, to your ideal customer, that you are the aspirin to their headache. And we need to be talking about their problems and the problems that we can solve. And then hack number three is nurturing relationships, which is really making sure that they think of your business first when they're ready to solve that problem. Now, I'm going to give you a few case studies as we go throughout this today. And so this is our first case study. This is Dirk. He's the CEO of Leaseology. And we actually implemented our lead funnel framework system for him back in the fall, where we were able to implement these 3 digital hacks, tie everything together. And what his business does, he's a small consultancy that basically works with the Fortune 500, specifically looking for those CFOs within the Fortune 500, which are really hard to get in the traditional sense. But because we implemented our lead funnel framework and we're able to activate his audience and establish authority and nurture relationships, he's now talking to CFOs with some of the largest companies that are out there today. And so this stuff absolutely can work for your business as well. So I like to tell a lot of analogies. I don't have a ton of them today, but I'm going to share with you this one analogy. I hope it makes sense. And I'm going to turn my camera back on also here. So hopefully this analogy will make sense to you. So when you think about, these 3 digital marketing hacks and you think about a lead funnel framework for your business, I want you to think about it like a hot air popcorn popper. I don't know if you had one of those in college. I certainly did. And to be honest with you, I still have one at home. We use it all the time. But digital marketing and this lead funnel framework can really be like a hot air popcorn popper, because what we need to do is basically get our target audience. Okay, we need to pour our target audience into that hot popcorn popper. So those are like the kernels, right? But then what we want to do is once they're sitting in that popcorn popper, we want to heat them up, right? And the way that we heat them up is we use content marketing, and we give them information about how we can help them solve their problems. And we just kind of are always there showing them how to take the next step, how we can help them accomplish their goals. And then ultimately, when they're ready, you know how it is whenever you heat up your popcorn in a popcorn popper, certain kernels pop out right away. Some of them take a long time, and some of them never pop out, right? And it's those kernels that pop out into the bowl, those are the ones that we need to hand off to sales. And so when you think about how are these things going to work together, what we're really trying to do is take that target customer, heat them up, constantly heating them up, and when they're ready to pop out, they pop out. We hand those sales qualified leads off to your sales reps, and that works really, really well. One of the challenges that I see all the time in the world of B2B digital marketing, from a marketing department trying to pass off leads to sales, where sales thinks that those leads are crappy or not very useful, is that marketing is trying to pass off popcorn kernels as leads. And those aren't leads. Those are really just suspects or an audience, right? What we've got to do as the marketers is constantly heat those kernels up until they're ready to take the next step. So hopefully that's helpful. Another challenge that I really see marketing departments struggle with their digital marketing efforts is, everybody wants SQLs. We talked about that at the beginning of the webcast today. Everybody's looking for those sales qualified leads. And as a result of that, they're spending their time, energy, and marketing dollars really focused on the bottom of the funnel here. Well, the problem with that is, if you'll notice, the funnel's pretty big, right? If all we do is focus on the bottom of the funnel, we're missing out on all that opportunity to get in front of our buyers at the different stages of the funnel. And quite frankly, those other stages of the funnel are wider, and that's where we actually communicate at those higher levels how we're able to solve their problem, right? We want to establish authority. We want to nurture relationships. We can't really do that at the bottom of the funnel. So if we're going to be successful in digital marketing and implementing these 3 digital marketing hacks in 2021, we've got to be thinking about how can we connect with not just now buyers, that's the bottom of the funnel, but how do we connect with what we call future buyers, those people that are our ideal customer that are really trying to figure out how to solve problems. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So when we think about our 3 digital marketing hacks, what we're trying to accomplish with them is to earn trust with our prospects, to deliver consistent leads because they're in that popcorn popper at all these different stages of the funnel. And when they're ready, they're going to pop out and then we can hand them off to the sales team. It's going to make closing deals a lot easier for your sales reps because, quite frankly, in today's world, buyers are self-educating. And if we're setting this up the right way, the marketing department is doing a lot of the work in educating that buyer on how you can solve problems for them, how you're going to help them accomplish what they're wanting to accomplish. And so when you're passing off that lead to a sales guy, they're more ready and more ready to hear the story, more ready to move on and do the deal. Also, we have to do it a very specific way, right? That's why a lot of businesses struggle, especially in the B2B world, with implementing digital marketing because they're not tying all these things together. And that's why these hacks really will work well for you. And so let's take a look at Dirk and just walk you through what the buyer journey kind of looks like as it relates to implementing these 3 digital marketing hacks. So number 1 is we have to activate our audience, right? People that don't know that we exist need to become aware that we exist. So, when Dirk, before we knew Dirk, if somebody had come up to him and said, hey, do you know who Vindy Digital is? He would have said, I've never heard of Vindy Digital, right? So we need to take him from lack of awareness to a place of curiosity, right? And so we want to get to the point where Dirk is thinking to himself, who is this company that I keep hearing of, right? Wherever I am, there they are, right? That's what we're trying to do in the curiosity stage. And then from there, we get to enlightenment, right? So now that he knows that we exist and we're kind of everywhere that he is online, now he's starting to consume our content and starting to understand our point of view on how to solve his particular problem. So that's the next stage, is enlightenment. And then from there, we want to go to consideration, right? So he's been aware of us, he's understanding our point of view, and now he's really thinking about, I want to learn more about how Vindy can help me solve my MQL and SQL problem. And then ultimately, we want to get Dirk to the commitment stage, right? Which is, yes, I do business with Vindy. They're awesome. They're helping me get in front of buyers that I wasn't able to get into before. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish with our buyer journey and leveraging these digital marketing hacks. Now, why is this important? I kind of touched on this already, but we cannot control when the buyer is ready to say yes, right? Wouldn't that be awesome if we could? But the reality is that we cannot do that. And so by leveraging digital marketing the way I'm walking you through today, you're going to make sure that when they are ready to buy, when they go from that future buyer state to the now buyer state, that they think of your business and not your competition, because your competition's still in that rocking chair races state, right? And you're way ahead of them doing the things you need to be doing in digital to get it to work the right way, right? So think about what we're talking about here is kind of like a Ferrari versus a rocking chair. Now, there's still work that you need to do, because at the end of the day, even if I were to give you a Ferrari, you've got to put gas in it and you've got to drive it, right? And so we just want to show you how to implement these things the right way. Now, you may be wondering, well, do I really need a B2B lead funnel framework for my business? Do I need to implement these 3 digital marketing hacks for my business? And I think the answer to that question really is, if you're leaning on anything that's on this slide, I call these kind of like the jalopy tactics, right? Direct mail or trade shows or events, right? Those things don't work as well anymore. Some of them aren't even possible anymore. And so if you've leaned on those types of tactics in the past, you really need to think about maybe getting out of the junkyard and getting into the Ferrari. So here's another quick case study. So this is Jay Womack. He's the CEO of Vertical Alliance Group. And Jay came to work with us over a year ago. And he was doing a lot of these other tactics that we were talking about, live events, trade shows, things like that. And he really was looking for a way to grow his leads. And so we were able to work with him and his team and implement our B2B lead funnel framework for his business. And within 30 days, we were able to grow his leads over 200%. And so if you can implement these things the right way, you're going to get some really positive results. And so what I'd like to do now is take a step back and just walk through each of the 4 phases. I'm going to start with planning, because even though it's not one of the 3 hacks, we have to do planning first if we're going to be successful. And then I'll walk you through the other hacks. Okay, when we look at planning, One of my favorite quotes I'm going to share with you from Drucker is the best way to predict the future is to create it. And isn't that what planning is all about? It's kind of thinking about where are we trying to grow as a business? And then how are these tactics that we need to implement going to help us? How do we align those things together, kind of like the alphabet, if you will, to get from point A to point Z? And so if we want to be successful, if we want to predictably get to where we're trying to go, we really need to create it. And that's what planning is all about. I mentioned that survey that we did earlier this year. And one of the questions that we asked was, hey, how's your digital marketing plan? Do you got a rock solid plan? Do you feel like that plan's going to get you where you need to go in 2021? And you know what we heard? We heard, no, not really. In fact, 90% of the folks that we surveyed, and that was over 300 marketing leaders, said that their digital marketing plan needed work. And so what I'm going to do is just walk you through 10 really key questions as you're thinking about building a digital marketing plan for your business this year that you really need to ask yourself. And so question number one, it's always kind of the first question, and that is, what are the guardrails, right? So before we get into the weeds with all the different tactics that we need to bring to the table, let's kind of get on the same page with what's that macro goal? What are the lanes, if you will, that we're going to try to play within, right? So it's always good. We also call it, what is the big net? What's that big thing that we're trying to accomplish this year? And then number two, once we've kind of got that defined, we want to think about, what does winning look like for our business? How can we tell that we're heading in the right direction? How can we look back, get in a time machine, fast forward a year from now, and kind of look back at all the things that we did this year and know that we accomplished our goals, right? Let's really get pass fail key performance indicators documented so that we know we're heading in the right direction and that we've arrived. Question number three, who are you trying to target, right? And it's not every customer that you can sell to. It's who are your ideal customers? Who are those customers, size of business, industry, role, whatever it is for your business, that really are the perfect clients, that really have a serious problem that your business can solve for them? You need to define that, right? Number four, what is your customer trying to do? Like, what does winning look like for them? And then number five, really, what are the obstacles that are keeping them from accomplishing that, right? Because at the end of the day, if your customer could solve a problem on their own, they wouldn't need you, right? But they can't solve that problem on their own. So they do need you. And there's obstacles that are getting in their way from accomplishing those goals, right? And you need to define what those goals are, because in your marketing messages, you need to communicate how you can help them overcome those obstacles. Then you need to identify who are those competition? Who is your competition, right? Who are those folks that are in those rocking chairs that your customer, your potential customer, might be looking to for the answers? You really want to understand and define who you're up against. And in the digital marketing world, it's really important that you understand not necessarily your traditional competitors, but also your online competitors, because in many cases, your online competitors are different. Your older competitors may be people that haven't figured this out. They're still in rocking chairs, but you may be surprised that there's new competitors on the street that are doing a much better job with digital marketing than you are, than your legacy or historical competitors. So be sure to check that out. Number seven, who is the villain? That's a great question to ask. And your villain is not your competition, right? The villain, this is the villain to your customer, right? And so every industry has a villain. In our industry, believe it or not, we say the villain are the actual platforms, right? Google is the villain. LinkedIn is the villain. Twitter is the villain. Can you believe that? And here's the reason why we say that. Because Google and LinkedIn, they're trying to take as much money out of your pocket as they possibly can, right? And if you don't do digital marketing the right way, they're going to accomplish that. They're the bad guys, right? They're the villain in our story, right? Or in our customer story. And so we want to define that villain so that when we talk to our customers, we can communicate to them, hey, we're going to insulate you. We're going to protect you from the villain. Number eight, what makes you unique for this audience? Remember, it's not every buyer, but it's your ideal buyer. So what is that thing that your ideal buyer loves to buy from you that they can't necessarily get as easily from your competition? And then number nine, how does your solution make the customer's life easier? And this is where you need to be thinking about your customer as a human being, not as another business, right? It's not a logo. We all want new logos for sure, right? We're B2Bs, but it's that human being that we're selling to. How, by implementing our solution, are we going to make that human being's life better, right? Because ultimately, people do business with people, not brands. And so we have to think about that. And then finally, number 10, what is your plan to help this customer, right? At the end of the day, we have to add clarity on how to help that customer get from point A to point B or wherever they're trying to go. And a big part of that clarity is to show them the simple steps that it will take for them to move and solve that problem with your business. And so when you're planning and thinking about planning, ask yourself those 10 questions. And again, just a reminder, we're going to provide all these slides to you in an email that will come out after the webinar. So those questions will be there for you. Here's another quick case study. Now, Lisa is the VP of Marketing at Unicom Engineering, a client of ours that we've had for a long, long time. And, last year, right at the beginning of the pandemic, we kind of took a step back and said, you know what, let's rethink who our customer is and let's message to them the right way. So we basically went through those 10 questions and a framework that we have that's part of our planning process. And we tweaked the messaging throughout their website and the way that they are marketing their business. And in the middle of COVID, we were able to grow their leads over 200% just by making those tweaks. And remember, this is a client we've been working with for a long time. So even a well-optimized marketing campaign can always use some refinement and some optimization by going through those 10 questions. So be sure to ask yourself those questions. Now, we do have a self-assessment. If you registered a few days ago or earlier, you've already gotten that self-assessment in an email that we sent out previously. We dropped a link to that self-assessment actually in the comments of this webcast. And so I'm not going to go through the self-assessment today, but the self-assessment aligns with each of these stages of our B2B lead funnel framework. And so I would encourage you, if you haven't already, at the end of this webinar, just pull up that self-assessment and go through it and just ask yourself the questions that'll help you kind of understand where are you strong or where might you need some help or some work. Okay, so let's move on to the first hack, which is activating our audience. And really what we're trying to do when we activate our audience is, number one, get them aware that you exist, right? We talked about that already. Help them learn and retain the problem that you can solve for them. Big problem that we see in the world of B2B digital marketing is businesses aren't talking enough about the problems that they solve. Businesses want to talk about how great they are, all the awards that they've won, how long they've been in business, how many customers they've served. Those are all good things, but they're good things after you've established this is the problem that I can solve. Remember, it's all about communicating to your buyer that you are the aspirin to their headache. And so we need to do that in that activate audience phase. We need to deliver value. We call it creating momentum. Once you've communicated, hey, this is the problem I can help you solve, now we need to create momentum by delivering value in our messages. And ultimately, content is king, right? If we're going to go out there and hang out where they are hanging out, we can't just be there. We have to be there and share value. And the way that we share value is by providing content. Now, one of my favorite movies, I'm going to date myself now, back in the 90s, was this movie with Kevin Costner called Field of Dreams. And I'm sure most of you guys have probably seen it. If not, spoiler alert. But Kevin Costner hears this voice that says, hey, go out to your cornfield and build a baseball diamond. And if you build it, they will come, right? And so he ends up building this baseball diamond, and all these famous baseball players come back, including his dad, right? And so it was a really cool movie, and all these people wanted to come and see the baseball diamond, right? Well, in the world of B2B, if you build it, they will come does not exist, right? So if we're going to be successful in activating our audience, we're going to have to do some work. We're going to have to earn our way into their world, and we're going to have to buy our way into their world. Here's another big challenge that I see B2B companies have when it comes to digital marketing. They try to do one or the other, right? They try to just earn their way in and do a lot of organic things, or they try to just buy their way in and run lead generation campaigns. Trying to do activating your audience with one of these two legs doesn't really work. You need to do both of them together. So when we're talking about earning your way in, we're talking about being active in social media, being active in digital selling. That's why I'm writing that new book, Social Selling Rules. We need to be active in content marketing. We need to be active in SEO. We also need to understand, as I talk about influencers here, just where are the other places online, podcasts, websites, etc., that have got the attention of my buyer. I need to be aware that they exist, and I need to be active in those places as well. On the buy your way in side, we need to be such a simple thing as boosting our content, right? Especially our blog content and running traffic campaigns to our website. Now, when you think about, how do I activate my audience in social media? One thing I like to encourage businesses is don't try to be a jack of all trades right out of the gate, right? If you're a B2B company, LinkedIn by far is your most important social media channel. So what I would encourage you to do is become a master at LinkedIn and then maybe take one other social platform to start trying to master. Maybe that's Twitter for you. Maybe it's YouTube. YouTube is a social platform. It's also a search engine, but that might be the other place you want to be. Maybe it's Facebook. You need to decide on your own, but take LinkedIn plus one and really try to master that first. And I'm just going to give you a quick example here. Man, when you write a blog, it is such a great advertising buy to just promote that blog to your target audience, especially on LinkedIn. The great thing about LinkedIn is they have first-party data. In fact, it's the best first-party data on the internet, right? Because all of us take care of our own profiles, right? When I change a job or you change a job, you're going to communicate that on LinkedIn. And then as advertisers, we can target against that first-party data. So if you're trying to activate your audience and you're trying to drive traffic to your website, there's nothing better than writing a blog and then boosting it or running a campaign against that blog to drive people to your website. It's a wonderful way of leveraging LinkedIn. So I'm going to give you just a quick crash course here on, ways to create a post in social media that's going to get the most engagement. So I'm just going to give you a couple of them here that are really helpful. So when you're thinking about creating your social content, think about calling out your audience. You can see in this example here that I call out a B2B audience. Also, images of people perform better than posts that don't have images of people. Asking a question is a great way to get engagement. So I try to ask a lot of questions in my social posts as well, and I use hashtags also. I'm going to switch gears here. We're still talking about activating your audience. Search engine optimization is really important, and I just wanted to, I don't have time to go into it in today's webinar, but Google made a huge announcement about a year ago about a huge algorithmic change that is going to happen in May. And there's been algorithmic changes throughout Google's history, but this is the first one where they actually came out and said, hey, FYI, in May of 2021, we're going to change the way that we rank websites. It's called the Google Core Web Core Vitals Update. It's something you need to be aware of, and I've got a blog on my website that I'm going to link to in that email. Be sure to check it out, because if you're ranking well today, this is something you need to be aware of. If you're not ranking well today, you're going to want to check out this blog to make sure you're doing the right thing so you can start ranking well. Okay, just a reminder that self-assessment, we have a whole bunch of questions, or a handful, if you will, of questions that you can ask yourself as it relates to activating your audience and really get an understanding of how equipped are you to accomplish that. So that's hack number one. Let's move into hack number two, which is, establishing authority, right? That's our goal. We want to establish authority. And so in order to do that, we want to continue to talk about the problems that our customers are having. We also want to nurture with knowledge. So it's not just talking about the problems anymore, like we were doing in Activate Your Audience, but now it's nurturing with knowledge. It's sharing our point of view on how we would go about solving those problems. Do you remember when I showed you that buyer journey a little bit ago, where we were moving Dirk through that buyer journey process, and we need to create curiosity, right? That's what we're trying to do here, is really make them curious about your point of view on how to solve their problem. And nurturing with knowledge is a great way to do that. Another great way to do that is to offer resources, right? So if you think about your customer and you put yourself in their shoes, what are the things that they need to make an informed purchase decision? What are things that you can create and make available to them as a resource that will help them make those decisions? and then give them a plan forward. You know, we talked about this in planning, that ultimately we have to help people. We have to define what are those steps that get them from where they are today to where they're trying to go, and how we can make those steps super easy for them. We need to communicate that plan forward all the time, everywhere, online, on our website, in social media, in our content, everywhere. So, you know, one of the biggest problems that I see when it comes to B2B web marketing today, and I go to companies' websites and I look at their websites, it seems like everybody has a narcissist problem. You know, I hate to pick on this. I don't even know who this company is, but here's the above the fold real estate on a B2B company's website that I found not too long ago. And you know, when I look at this website here, I don't even know what they do. I mean, are they architects? Do they make slides? Are they a school? I have no idea, right? They're not thinking about the customer. They're kind of trying to brag, I think, on themselves. Here's the key point. Every website above the fold has to do three critical things. So this is really important. If you get this, I promise you, go take a look at your website. If you're not doing this and you will implement what I'm about to share with you, you will get more leads. I promise you that. So you've got to answer these three questions. Number one, what do you do? Right? Very clearly, no jargon. What do you do? Number two, what's in it for me? So I'm on your website. Now I know what you do. Why should I care? How will that benefit my life? And then number three, how do I take the next step, right? So what do you do? What's in it for me? And how do I take the next step? Go check out your website and see if your website above the fold on your homepage answers those three questions. If it does, congratulations. If it doesn't, go answer those questions and you'll be amazed at the leads you'll be able to produce. You know, as you scroll down on this website, sorry to keep picking on them, but it just gets worse, right? They're talking about what sets us apart and what we love to do and learn more about us. It's not about you. It's about solving your customers' problems. Let me show you what Dirk was able to do after we walked him through our lead funnel framework process. His website kind of looked a lot like what we just looked at. But he went through our process and we were helping him, and we basically answered those three questions above the fold on his website. Number one, what do you do? We are a lease management company. So lease management made easy, right? What's in it for me? Simplify your lease management, amplify your cash flow. That's absolutely what's in it for the CFOs that he works with. And how do I take the next step? Well, we got a little excited about that. We had three different ways, but very clear ways that the buyer could take the next step. So make sure you're answering those questions. You know, we talk about content marketing, and content marketing is kind of that gray area from activate your audience to establish authority. Blogging is a huge part of that in the world of B2B. And I don't have time to go through all of our best practices on blogging today, but we've written a great blog on it. I'm going to add a link to that email that we'll send you after this. So be sure to check out the 8 essential B2B blogging tips that'll be linked. This blog will be linked in that email I send to you. So, okay, we've been talking about establishing authority. So grab that self-assessment either now or at the end of the webinar today, and just ask yourself the questions that are here to see if there's areas that you can really improve in how you establish authority and really show that customer that you are qualified to solve that problem. And you know, one caveat that I didn't talk too much about, it's not just being qualified to solve the problem, which is key. Another subtle element is empathy. I want to solve your problem as well as I'm qualified to solve your problem. So think about how can you establish authority and empathy. Okay, let's move into the final hack here, which is nurturing relationships. So when we want to nurture relationships, what we're trying to accomplish here is reinforcing our value proposition, telling it over and over and over again. Marketing is an exercise in memorization. And so what we're trying to accomplish, since we can't control when a buyer is ready to say yes, what we can control is that they file in their brain, you know, in their little brain filing system, hey, this is the company that solves that for me, right? In the Vendy Digital world, what we want our customer to file away is, hey, this is the company that can help me generate B2B leads, right? If I want more B2B leads online, I need to call Vendy Digital. When I'm ready to do that, I'm going to call Vendy Digital. And so when we're talking about nurturing relationships, that's our goal. We've got to reinforce over and over again that we're the company that can solve this problem so that when they decide to take action on it, they think of you before your competition. We need to give our prospects a plan forward, right? This is consistently moving through each of the hacks. And so if you're thinking about how do I get digital marketing to work better for me, you might ask yourself, are you communicating that plan at every step of the way? Number three, we want to be there when they're ready, right? So when we think about nurturing relationships, we can't just live in an island called our website. We have to live in social media. We have to live in their inbox. We have to live all over the place, right? So that they know whenever they're ready to solve that problem, you're one step away, maybe one email away. Oh, there's Vindy again. I remember those guys. I'm going to go talk to them about how they can help my MQL problem with digital marketing. So offering a lead magnet at this stage is one of the best ways to generate marketing qualified leads for your business. I can't tell you how often I get a call from a B2B company and they want to generate more leads online, and I go look at their website and they offer nothing. The only call to action on their website is a contact us button in the top right of their homepage, right? Or in their navigation. At the end of the day, that's the worst thing you can possibly do, right? If we want to generate marketing qualified leads, we need to offer some mid funnel or upper funnel gated lead magnet that's going to really get somebody to give us their information in exchange for them. And that also gives us permission to communicate and market to them in the future. This is going to even become more important in 2021 and years beyond. Because guys, I'm just telling you right now, the way that you are able to target folks with advertising is going to become harder and harder. We saw it with the recent iOS update and the impact that that had on Facebook. Basically, targeting people is going to be harder. But if you build your own opt-in list of prospects that have given you permission to market to them, that's how you overcome that. So it's really important. If you're not generating mid-funnel leads today, you need to start ASAP. So let's talk about how to do that. Number one, when you generate a lead magnet, you want to create something that's going to clarify your buyer's thinking about how to solve this problem. Remember, they have a problem that they can't solve on their own, so they're looking to you for help, and your lead magnet can help move them in that process. We also want to educate our point of view. So, hey, here's your problem. Here's ways to think about that problem. Here's ways that we can help you, or you might want to think about how to solve that problem. Number three, help them solve that problem. Give them useful information. You don't want to give away the farm. I'm not talking about that, but really basically give them something to think about. Think about this webinar that you're watching right now. In a way, that's exactly what I'm doing with you, right? I'm helping you solve a problem. You want to generate more marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads, and I'm walking you through a framework that will help you accomplish that. And so this webinar is a great example of what a lead magnet can be for you. And then finally, here's what to do next. Hey, you've learned this information, right? Now, based on what you now know, because you've read this lead magnet or watched this lead magnet, here's what you need to do next. Now, one of the things that we do at Vindy is we're creating new lead magnets all the time. As a minimum, I would like to see you generate at least one lead magnet every quarter, okay? In a perfect world, you might do 2 lead magnets a quarter. That may sound like a lot, but quite frankly, it's enough frequency to get fresh stuff out there to keep those buyers engaged. Now, what we do on our website is we actually have a resource section. And so we'll create a new lead magnet once a quarter or so, and then we'll promote that lead magnet everywhere following this framework that I'm teaching you today. And then when we're ready to retire it, it just goes in our resource center. Because a lead magnet we created a year ago is still useful, right? So if somebody comes to our website, we want them to still be able to enjoy that lead magnet. So here's a success formula as you're thinking about, well, what do I do, or what do I say, or how do I write this lead magnet or create it? Again, this will be in the slides that I present to you or send to you via email at the end. So, when you think about what's the architecture, if you will, of this lead magnet, start with, number one, are you struggling with? That's going to define the problem. Number two, here's what we have, right? This is our point of view. You've got this problem, you have a headache, this is our type of aspirin. Here's what our aspirin will do for you, right? So if you try to solve your problem with our aspirin, this is what life might look like. And then finally, here's what you need to do next. Now, you're probably noticing at this point, some of this stuff is pretty consistent. But didn't I say that at the very beginning of the webinar, right? To be successful, we need to be consistent. And to be consistent, we need a framework. And it's this repetition. Marketing is an exercise in memorization, as I said earlier, that really causes this stuff to work well. So when you do come up with your lead magnets, you want to run campaigns to generate these leads. In fact, here's a big secret and why lots of businesses struggle, B2B businesses, especially when it comes to B2B lead generation or digital marketing, is they focus on that bottom of the funnel, right? And what I'd rather you do is spend your advertising dollars mid-funnel and generate marketing qualified leads so that you can nurture them over time and use email marketing to ultimately warm them up in that popcorn popper so that you're handing off leads to your sales reps with your email marketing and your content marketing. That works so much better than just going after those sales qualified leads at the bottom of the funnel. Now, if you go after, mid-funnel lead magnets, there's two types of emails you need to be thinking about. One is what we call the next step email. And so what we do for our clients is we actually create up to 5 emails that prospect is going to receive after they opt in to that gated asset, right? So it's going to take them through a process that I'll show you in just a second to really communicate your story and why they need to think about you to solve their problem. That's one type of email. The next type of email is what we call a nurture email. And so imagine somebody comes into your website, they opt into something, they're going to get that 5 email next step series, but then that's going to end, right? And so the nurture email is an email that goes to everybody, once a week, once a month, whatever you feel is right for your business, that just kind of keeps you top of mind for those people that aren't currently in that next step sequence. This is what our next step sequence looks like. I'm not going to go through it today for the sake of time. It is going to be in the slides when I email those out to you. But you'll see each one of those emails. We've got kind of the recommended dates that you send them out and also the goal that you're trying to achieve in that particular topic. So that should be real helpful for you. Okay, so we're ending through these 3 hacks. We just got through talking about nurture relationships and really want to grab that self-assessment, like I said, now or at the end of the webinar, and really just go through those questions and really refine, areas that you need improvement, because that's what the self-assessment is all about. It's to help you find those things. And so just going to take a step back here. I'm going to actually turn off my camera so we can see all this together. Right? These are the 3 hacks that we just walked through: activate our audience, establish authority, and nurture relationships. It's part of what we call our B2B lead funnel framework. And so kind of what we've done in the last 40 or 50 minutes is just dabbled a little bit in B2B digital marketing and how our framework can help you be successful. But the reality is, to be successful, to ultimately be successful, you're going to need to immerse yourself in this process. And that's exactly what we did with our customers, those case studies I shared with you earlier today. But if you want to be successful in 3xing your pipeline this year, you really need to run a marketing plan that has all of the details kind of figured out. In fact, that's what we did for this is our last case study I'm going to share with you today with Amy over at Tentry. So Tentry is a large storage company, and we had the opportunity to begin working with them about 18 months ago. And one of the first things we did, as we do with any of our full service clients, is just ran them through our B2B lead funnel framework so we can create a digital marketing, a go-to-market strategy for them, and then executed that strategy. And guess what? Some of the things they were doing right. Some of the things they needed to refine better. And so all of it needed to get tied together. And that's really what our lead funnel framework did for them. And they had a record year last year, the best year that they've ever had. And in large part, I'd love to take credit for all of it. I'm not going to do that, but in large part, because we were able to generate so many more leads, sales qualified leads, and ultimately pipeline growth for them. So, as we get to the end of the presentation here, I just want to ask you a quick question. And I do apologize for the fire hose here. I know that I always get told, people come up to me after I do these events and often will say, man, that was awesome. I took 3 or 4 pages of notes, but that was a fire hose. And the reality is I don't know how to do it any different way. So I apologize for that. But let me just ask you a question here. At this point, do you think if you implemented a lead funnel framework like this for your business, that you would be in a better position to leverage digital marketing in such a way to significantly grow your pipeline and grow your sales without wasting a ton of time, energy, and money? Remember, that was the question I said we're going to try to answer in this webinar. So here we are at the end of the webinar, and I'm just want you to think about, if you implemented these things, do you think you could significantly grow your pipeline without wasting a lot of time and a lot of money? And I hope the answer is yes. But here's the key point. You got to set it all up the right way, right? Having the framework is great, but setting it up the right way is really important. And so our lead funnel framework is actually what we believe will help you and get you in the best place to be able to do that, to grow your pipeline. And the good news is, kind of looking at this last answer to the question of that survey I was telling you about, you know, if you're like everybody that answered the survey, you're planning on building a lot of stuff this year, right? You're planning on building landing pages. You're planning on optimizing your website. You're planning on creating lead magnets. All those things are on your mind, right? They're on your roadmap of things that you need to create this year. And that's awesome. But if you want to get the most value, the most bang out of that effort, you really need to tie everything together in a framework like I've walked you through today. So if you're ready to finally use digital marketing to grow your pipeline like we've been talking about, there's really two paths you can take at this point. You know, path number one is to try to do it 100% on your own. That's the trial and error path, right? You can certainly get there. Everything that I've talked about today and everything that you would ever want to know about digital marketing is out there, right? You can go to YouTube and you can look up videos and watch videos and try things, and you're going to get some success, and some things are going to work and some things aren't. So that is absolutely a path that you can take, right? Or you can take path number two, and that is working with a partner like Vindy Digital that's been doing this for a long, long time, that really has a framework that you can leverage, that can provide guidance or do the whole doggone thing for you, right? So you're really at a place where you need to decide, you know, hey, am I going to take the slides that Paul provided and go try to do this on my own? Or do I want Vindy or somebody like Vindy to help me? And we get that. And I also get that, you know, people that are watching today's webinar are probably all over the map, from people that just want to hand it off to an agency like us to people that want to try to figure out how to do this on their own. And that's why we really have services across all three of those spectrums. So we've got services around do it yourself. So if you want to do it yourself, we can show you how to do that. If you want us to do it for you, you know, that's been our bread and butter for a long, long time. We're happy to take this burden off your shoulders and do the work for you. And then finally, maybe you want somebody to do it with you. It's like a hybrid, right? You don't want to give us everything, but you don't want to do it all yourself. You want somebody to come alongside you and help. Regardless of where you are, we have services and solutions that can help you. But what I wanted to do in the last 5 minutes or so that we have together today is just walk you through one of our do-it-yourself solutions. So this B2B lead funnel framework, we've kind of dabbled in it today, but we have an immersive product. It's our 10-day B2B lead funnel framework course. It's really awesome. It's on-demand videos plus a workbook plus homework, where at the end of the course, you'll actually have a fully vetted and ready to go digital marketing roadmap for your business. It basically will take you over 10 days through the 3 digital marketing hacks that we just talked about, as well as helping you set up and think through those 10 questions that we talked about in the planning phase. And so it basically, if you're looking for a do-it-yourself option, there's really not a better option, because we're going to walk you through exactly the same things that we do on the full service side of our business. Now, you know, most of the case studies that I shared with you today are companies that are having us do most of the work for them. And so, you know, we're able to do that. They pay us over $50,000 a year each for us to do that, but we teach exactly the same strategies in this course. So if you don't want an agency or have to pay an agency $50,000 a year to do it for you, you want to figure it out on your own, this is a really good option. Each lesson is short. They're about 10 or 15 minutes long. They're actionable because at the end of each lesson, there's a homework assignment, and that homework assignment is actually crafting out and building your B2B lead funnel framework for your business. So it's really everything you need to do and accomplish what we've been trying to teach you today, and that's how to 3x your pipeline. And you can do it without having to waste money. So instead of going and watching a whole bunch of videos on YouTube, you can actually watch these videos and go through the homework assignments in a very structured way that will get you where you're trying to go. So inside the course, you have the workbook. I'm going to show you examples of some of this in just a second, but there's a 68-page workbook, our framework, swipe files, templates, basically the stuff that we use day in and day out, our account managers and our campaign managers that we use when we're building out a B2B lead funnel framework for our full service clients. All of those templates are available to you in this course. So let's go take a look at the course real quick, and I'm going to do the best I can to pop it up. So bear with me here. Again, I'm driving all of this technology by myself, so hopefully I get this done right. So there we go. I think I've got it right. So right here is the actual course, and I'm going to show you kind of what this looks like. So when you log in, you'll actually see, let me just refresh this real quick. That's right. So there's a video for every day, right? You'll see the 10 lessons are right here. The 10 days are right here. And there's a video and there's a homework assignment. And in the first day, you'll get an overview of the course, and then you'll get access to the 68-page workbook. And you can see the 68-page workbook is right here. And each part of the workbook aligns with the different days of the class, and the classes align with the lead funnel framework that I just walked you through. So planning, activating your audience, establishing authority, and nurturing relationships. All of that is tied directly into, you can see even right here, there's the framework, and it walks you through the process. And every day there's companion content that's in the workbook. And then you'll notice here at the bottom, there's a next step, which is your homework assignment, which will also be connected to whatever the homework is in the course. And so that's an example of the workbook. We also have this great 90-day action plan that you'll get on the last lesson that will help you take that plan that you've just built by going through the course and basically execute it over 90 days. You know, you kind of need that 90-day cycle to establish the habits that you need to establish in order to be successful. So you get this 90-day lead funnel action plan. This is a great little tool because you're going to need marketing technology in order to accomplish your B2B lead funnel framework. And so we've vetted out the top 50 marketing tools for you to consider, and we've broken them down again by the lead funnel framework, by these individual hacks. So here's our marketing technology recommendations for activating your audience. Here's our marketing technology recommendations for establishing authority. And so it walks you through all of those, and that's included in the course. We also give you this 100 topic suggestion worksheet guide because, man, I hear this all the time. You know, you have a hard time thinking about your business and talking about it in a way that's going to activate your audience and establish authority. And so we've created this Mad Libs-like workbook where you'll just very easily go fill in the blanks and come up with over 100 different topics that you'll be able to use for blog posts or lead magnets or whatever you want. And that's included in the course as well. And so that's just kind of a quick overview of the course. And I highly recommend it if you're thinking about trying to do this on your own. And so when you're done with the course, basically you'll have a plan, you'll have an engaged audience, or at least you'll know exactly what you need to do to engage that niche audience that matters to you the most. You'll have topics for your blogs and topics for your lead generators. You'll have a way to grow your email list. And remember, I talked about that earlier. Man, it is so important to grow your email list right now before all the world changes, and it's going to be harder and harder to target your audience in the future. So make sure you're generating your opt-in list now. You'll have a follow-up system so that you can nurture those relationships over time. You'll have a support group as well. So everybody that joins or signs up for this course will be able to connect to a private Facebook group. We also have the same group. If you prefer LinkedIn, we have a group over on LinkedIn too. It's the same information in both groups, but you'll be able to, get your questions answered, have peers kind of talk to you about, your perspective. Maybe you can even share your ideas on lead magnets and things like that. My team is there all the time. We're there to help you really get the most out of the course in those private groups. And then finally, if you care about these things, and I know that a lot of people do, you'll get a certificate of completion. So once you get through all 10 days and then you submit all your homework and you complete your lead funnel framework for your business, then we'll send you a certificate of completion. So you might be asking yourself at this point, well, how much does this course cost? And I want to let you know right now, it's $1,497, $1,497. So, at the end of the day, that's a big savings over what our full service clients pay us. Remember, they're paying, $50,000 a year plus for us to implement these same strategies for their business. And you also have to think about what is the cost of not doing this, right? I mean, you'll have to try to do this on your own, and what's your time worth, and how long would it take for you to try to figure these things out versus having us, hold your hand through the process. So the reality is, you have to do these three things, right? You have to activate your audience, you have to establish authority, and you have to nurture relationships. Those things have to happen, and we can show you how to do it the right way. So if you're still here, I've got some good news for you. The fact that you're hanging with us till the very end, I've got a bonus that I want to share with you. And that is directly tied to my mission, which is we're trying to help as many B2B companies generate more leads and more sales in 2021 than they were able to accomplish in 2020. So if you are really interested in this program, because you hung with me till the very end, we're going to give you a $500 discount, which will drop the price from $1,497 to $997. But that's only good through Sunday. So you need to get out there between now and Sunday if you want to take advantage of that. And the coupon code, you'll see it right here on this slide, over there on the left, right here. It's March 2021. So March 2021, when you go to the site, so just simply go to vendidigital.com/enroll. That'll direct you right over to the site that we were just looking at. Go through the process. It'll ask you for a coupon code. Type in March 2021, and you'll be able to get the $500 discount. Now, I want you to be happy with the program. So we're also going to give you a 90-day money-back guarantee. So basically, I'm taking all the risk away from you. I want you to go give this training program a try, save the $500, and at the end of 90 days, that'll give you a chance to get through that 90-day workbook that I walked you through. If you're not happy, you're not getting the leads that you're hoping for, it just didn't work for you, let me know, and we will give you your money back. So you remember, we kind of talked through these case studies, right? Jay grew his business over 200%. Dirk is now talking to some of the most ideal prospects in his industry. Amy had one of the best years ever with Tentree last year because of the way we were able to grow their pipeline. Lisa, a client that's been with us for a long, long time, we were still able to grow her leads over 200% last year by implementing some of the messaging that we were able to come out of in the planning phase with her last year. So this stuff actually does work, guys. I highly encourage you, if you want to do this on your own, go to vendidigital.com/enroll and take advantage of that $500 discount. At the end, you'll have a proven framework. There's really no way to lose. We're giving you that 90-day money-back guarantee. We're going to give you a step-by-step plan. Literally, we will give you a campaign brief. I didn't show it to you, but at the end of you filling out all those templates and guides, the last thing you'll do is create a campaign brief to help you launch your first 90-day campaign. You're going to be able to generate more leads, which is really why you're here watching this webcast in the first place, and ultimately grow your pipeline. And so take advantage of the special offer. It ends on Sunday. It does go away. This isn't fake, right? You have to go in, use that coupon code March 2021 between now and Sunday, because next Monday it'll be $1,497 again. You won't be able to use the coupon. And so one final bonus I want to share with you as we begin to wrap up here. I mentioned to you I'm writing a book called Social Selling Rules. Well, we also have a course inside of our courseware that's called our Social Selling course. And so if you sign up today, when you get through that last lesson, the very last lesson, it will actually unlock this course for you for free. It's a $499 value. You can buy the course on our website today for $499, or you can just complete this course, the Lead Funnel Framework course, and in that last lesson, it will unlock how to get this course for just for nothing. So that's an extra bonus. So be sure to enroll today. Just a reminder, Sunday's the last day that you can do that. And guys, I really do appreciate your time. Sorry for the technical challenges that we had at the very beginning. Thank you so much for hanging with us. If you're looking for a way to do this on your own, I highly encourage you to take advantage of this special offer and get the course. But if you're looking for somebody that can do it with you or do it for you, be sure to reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about that. Well, guys, thanks for your time. Like I said, if you have any additional questions, I'll circle back with Lauren. We'll make sure that we get those questions answered for you, and be on a lookout for an email that should come out in the next hour or two with a copy of the slides and those blog articles that I referenced, as well as information on how to sign up for the course. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.